I've never really done product reviews as such before, but bought some new filming equipment. Thought I might as well see how it goes, do some first impressions and a little review in a couple of days once I've used it. So let's get this open. You may recognise the branding. Is it called Neewer? I'm assuming is how you pronounce it. It feels like a weird word, I don't know. So I filmed at a couple of events recently, my cousin's wedding and at a award ceremony for a Royal Level charity, and both times it went fine, but I learned from the experience that my good lens, the one I'm normally filming on, not this one, so it is a much nicer lens for doing stuff for because it's just a kit lens, but it doesn't have any image stabilisation, which is not a total disaster, but when you're filming by hand, it can end up a bit wobbly. And I have to correct it afterwards, and then you get that weird distortion going on, and it's not ideal. I'm loving the really nondescript container. It's just filming equipment. We don't know what it is. Wow. Here it is. So this is basically a shoulder mount for a camera. So the idea is you have two handholds that you're holding and one that's resting on your shoulder, and you get a much more stable image and can move around without getting as much camera shake. So let's see how we unfold it. Well, it has an Allen key, so that concerns me. This is just going to be a few minutes of me fiddling with various components. Well, it feels like I was a little bit concerned when I ordered this because it is relatively cheap, and I was worried it might feel a bit flimsy, but this actually feels really sturdy. So hopefully it feels just as sturdy when my expensive camera is attached to it. Okay, so we've opened that up, and I need to... So do these come out with the Allen key? Well, they don't seem to want to undo, so maybe not. Oh, they're just stiff so that they stay in place. That's fine. Okay, right. Well, initial thoughts is that it feels sturdy. It feels... I'm not worried about attaching my camera to it, definitely put it that way. Feels like everything locks in position quite well, and these are actually quite nice to grip. The padding is quite nice. Okay. So far, not scared of it. And I'm glad I don't need to use the Allen key, because that was going to be inconvenient. Right, well I guess the next step is to load this camera onto it. So I guess I might swap over to my camcorder. So you're about to see a quality drop, very sorry about that. And see how it goes. So, next challenge is to attach the camera to it. So hopefully, this won't be too difficult. Okay, that was in fact not that difficult. Okay, that feels attached. Okay, so this is kind of the setup. I don't know whether that's meant to be the bit on your shoulder and you bring that down, but then you're very close to the screen. I suppose, yeah, you can see that, it's fine. It's not going to give you square eyes. Alright, let's see how this is to actually film with. Hello! It feels alright. So I guess what I need to do now is go for a little walk around and review the footage. I just made a discovery. Turns out this middle bit is telescopic, so you can adjust how far back it is. This is just a quick comparison between having the camera on the shoulder mount and having it just holding it. I've got image stabilisation on my lens switched on for both of these, and you can see there's not really an awful lot of a difference between the two shots. And this is just a quick comparison of having the camera on the shoulder mount but with no stabilisation switched on, and then holding it in my hands but having the stabilisation, just to see how this compares for, say, if you have a lens with no image stabilisation, what you'd be able to get with this. Definitely good first impressions, but I will have to see how it goes in an actual on-the-go event context. So it is my sister's wedding on Friday. I won't use any of the footage because obviously it's a private thing. I don't want to put my sister's wedding on my channel, so I will just report back on my findings. So that's my sister's wedding done. Went very smoothly, and now I guess it's time for some thoughts on how this actually performed. I would say if you want to do a lot of filming on location and you want to be able to move, this is a pretty good solution for smoothing out your shots. But it does have its limitations, obviously. You're still going to get the movement of you taking a step, unless you're very good at kind of gliding. You're still going to get a bit of vertical movement from you walking, but it does take the camera shake out from your hands quite a bit, so I'm actually quite happy with it. It isn't too heavy, it doesn't really add too much to the weight of the camera. It's less than a kilogram, I can't remember the exact weight of it, and when it's resting on your shoulder, it doesn't really make it feel like it's very heavy and takes a lot of the weight from the camera off your hands onto your shoulder, so it does make it easier for filming longer shots. But I'm not 100% sold on it. I don't know how much I'll actually use this. I mean, firstly, I mostly film in a static way like this when it's just me. If I had a camera operator, then maybe I'd do more stuff where I was using this, but it's going to be very much for the odd occasion. If you are going to get something like this, I would recommend unfolding it and assembling it at the start of the day and just leaving it set up somewhere, because it's, as you saw when I first got this, there's a lot of parts you have to move and line up, and it takes a good 5 minutes of just getting this set up in the right position for you. So I would not want to have to dismantle it and reassemble it a few times through the day, because that would just get really tedious. I don't think that there's many ways you could speed the process up. I'm sure you get a bit more efficient at it, knowing exactly how to position every part for you to be comfortable, but it's still going to take a while. I can't really show you any of the shots that I did really with this, because I don't want to be putting friends and family members on YouTube without their permission. I know a fair few people don't want that at all, so can't use the footage, but that's fine. But yeah, I did do a fair few shots where I was moving around, panning the camera, and it was definitely smoother than I've managed to do just holding the camera, and it felt easier at the time. I wasn't having to concentrate really hard to keep my hands still, so that was nice. Could focus more on where I was pointing the camera rather than how I was holding it. One nice thing about this is that I did make it very clear I wasn't the photographer, because this is a weird bit of photography equipment. If you've ever tried to film with a regular camera at a family wedding or something, I'm sure you've had the problem of people seeing that you've got the camera out and then thinking of taking a photograph and then just posing. I felt more like a videographer. I don't really have a big conclusion or a rating or recommendation, just if you want something to help stabilise your shots, this is alright. It's not too expensive. Yeah, I'm not sure I necessarily recommend it just because I don't know how much of a use I will get out of it, but I wanted it and it does the job, so. Still haven't sorted out an actual end screen, so click here to watch a video, click here to watch another video, and click here to subscribe. See you again soon.